the progression of my experience in film in LA, which was really my film school, was that because I loved rock and roll, and I had friends who were record producers and people my age, and I really wanted to work in the hip world. I didn't want to work for ad agencies. So I went around to the record companies and I sold myself as getting Doyle Dan Bernbach experience and bringing it to the record industry. In other words, it's not enough to just love music. I had advertising skills as well that I learned at a big-time ad agency. And I started to get print ads and radio commercials. I did a ton of radio, which is where I learned to edit, where I learned the uninterrupted flow of a broadcast medium, and got out of print. And then let's see. I wrote a commercial for the Electric Light Orchestra, and I wanted to direct it because I didn't like the job. I had written a previous commercial, and I thought the director screwed it up. And these are really small projects, very low budget, 16-millimeter projects. And so I said, well, I'll write it if I can direct it. So they said, okay. So I did a 30-second TV commercial. And then I did a couple of more commercials. And in the meantime, a guy I met, became a good friend of mine, was managing Steve Martin early in Steve's career. And Steve made an album for Warner Brothers, which my friend Bill McEwen produced. And Steve was going to host Saturday Night Live, and they asked me to go up to Aspen and write and shoot some commercials with Steve. So I brought a 3-man crew, and we went up there, and Steve and I sat in his kitchen table and wrote, I think, 5 commercials. We went out the next day and filmed them all, and they were very crude, handheld, and real simple stuff. And they were aired on Saturday Night Live. And about that time, record companies were starting to do what I think I called song films. They weren't called videos then, because when an artist was going to release an album and couldn't tour or wasn't planning to tour South America or Japan, they'd send over these song films and put them on TV all over the world, and use them as part of their marketing strategy. It was a cheap way to advertise the records. And there was very little paid advertising going on in the music business at that time. Probably still is, very little. I mean, they counted on airplay for everything. And I used to pitch presidents of record companies. If you can sell 1 million records on airplay, it's already a hit. Everybody loves the song. You could sell 2 million records if you spent a few bucks on advertising. And so they got that. The only reason they ran radio commercials was as a form of payola. We'll help you, you help us, you play, we'll buy some time on your station, you play the record. So anyway, I was doing a lot of radio, and I was starting to do some TV commercials, and then I started to do some song films. And the first one was probably Don McLean. And the next one was Olivia Newton-John. I did some things with Olivia Newton-John. Okay, so this is to answer your question of how your early experience is built into directing movies. My approach was hire fabulous cinematographers and editors to shoot my little music videos. So I shot Olivia Newton-John first with Owen Roizman, who had shot French Connection and tons of other big movies. And then I hired Vilmos Zsigmond to shoot an Olivia's video. So I'm working with Academy Award winning cinematographers, and I'm getting, that's my film school. I had the best teachers in the world. I mean, Vilmos had just come off Close Encounters of the Third Kind when he shot my Olivia thing. And these guys are easy to get. I have a meeting with them. I invite them over to my living room. I want to hire you. I'll pay your commercial rate. They all shoot commercials between movies. And if I could convince him that I had some talent or a vision for the spot, for the video, they go, man, it sounds like fun. We'll do it. It's more fun than working with ad agencies. This is rock and roll. And these guys were master craftsmen, and I just learned so much from them. And by the time I got to do my first movie, I realized I'd done pretty much everything. I had pretty much all the skills necessary to get through a movie. But I'd also done some dialogue stuff with Steve Martin. I shot the opening to one of his television specials, and I wrote on a couple of Steve Martin specials. So I don't know. It all sort of came together, and by the time I got my first movie, I was